Hi, my name is Logan Maddox, and I'm a part of Group 5 Student Athlete Development. The other members of the company include Daryl Redden and Bryant Derricott, and we would just like to thank you, the University of West Georgia, for bringing us in and helping share a little bit about what we could bring to the table in terms of helping out University of West Georgia's student athletes and helping the university in their development. Starting out with our executive summary, at Group 5 Student Athlete Development, our mission is to lend a hand to universities trying to maximize the amount of support they offer to their student athletes. In this day and age, each athlete can struggle mentally, emotionally, or physically due to athletic demands, academic responsibilities, stress, or a number of other reasons. Our intention is to assist top-tier caring universities and athletic departments by offering one-on-one educational resources that teach their student athletes about several topics such as mental health, emotional health, and media training. By shedding light on these topics during their time in college, it can create a better understanding for those student athletes on how to deal with life during their athletic career and set them up for success once their playing days are done. As we take a look at our goals for implementation if we were chosen by the University of West Georgia, first and foremost, we would like to make a difference in the student athletes' lives. How would we do this? Well, we feel the best way to do this is to offer information that the athletes will retain and keep throughout their college careers. Ideally, you'd want to expose the student athletes to this information on mental and emotional health and media training ahead of time, as it would help them if they were to face similar issues throughout their career. Additionally, we'd like to make an honest connection with student athletes by keeping a conversational nature when sharing information. When we are implementing our strategies, the last thing we want to do is come off as if this is simply a seminar where we offer information and that's it. We want to open channels for dialogue so we can learn from student athletes as well. And finally, we hope to receive mostly positive feedback from the student athletes we serve. Of course, if there's ever a time we receive negative feedback or a suggestion, we will certainly make changes moving forward. Moving along to the content section, we will start with the actual PowerPoints that we use for the presentations for student athletes and begin with mental and emotional health. We start things out by sharing a few facts about student athletes and mental health. According to a study from USC, 30% of student athletes reported feeling severely overwhelmed. A quarter of them feel mentally exhausted at the end of a day, and student athletes are less likely to search professional health than non-athletes. We think that sharing this information initially is prudent because it helps the student athletes understand that mental health issues are real in college athletics. It's not always just the softball player that you saw on social media who committed suicide. Some of your teammates might be struggling at this very moment, and you could never know if they don't open up about their issues. There are also problems within the university structure. While lots of universities are trying to locate struggling and depressed students, it's oftentimes easier said than done. Universities hope to provide emergency mental care for students and student athletes as well, but they must understand that the first step is admitting that you're struggling and finding help. Another issue is that coaches may focus more on their sport than an athlete's mental well-being, but that should never stop a student athlete from opening up. Injuries are another way that an athlete's mental health can be affected. Victor Oladipo, who's pictured on the right, is one of hundreds of athletes who have reported hitting rock bottom after an injury. Athletes may struggle to sleep or have other psychological responses to injury as well. It's best to become familiar with these signs in the event that an athlete or one of their teammates may go through a similar situation during their time in college. Again, these mental health issues can hit close to home. Sarah Harrell, who plays soccer at West Georgia, is a great example. Sarah had a great start to her career but then broke her femur 3 matches in and had to miss the entire season. Between surgery and recovery, she was sidelined for a year. She had plenty of restless nights and often wondered why this happened to her. This proves the importance of student athletes opening up about their struggles, as Sarah did, and saw her mental health improve significantly. It doesn't just stop at education, though. We propose that West Georgia create university-based psychological teams to help find student athletes struggling with their mental health and then assist them in finding the correct resources to help. One of these resources should be mental health clinics on campus with open-door policies who are willing to help any students at UWG. Allowing for mental health days will also help out student athletes, especially those struggling with mental exhaustion. And finally, coaches and administrators should attend mental health seminars each summer so they can locate struggling student athletes and learn more about how to help them in their times of need. That wraps up the mental and emotional health presentation, but now we move along to media training, which is important for student athletes at any level. As stated on this slide, there are 4 main sections of media training: interacting with media professionals, managing and engaging in social media, managing a student athlete's brand and image repair. We'll touch on each of these. Beginning with interacting with media professionals, student athletes should be prepared to handle an interview, and that's what we intend to do. The first thing to consider for a student athlete is that the interviewer is simply doing their job and asking you questions. This is a partnership, and all you have to do is respond to them. You should respect them even if you think a question is a slight at you, because they have the power to damage your image. Any publicity, though, can be good publicity if you do it right. So, how do you get good publicity? Well, one easy way is to be humble. Everyone loves a nice guy or an underdog. Another great way to do this is to credit your teammates or coaches. Giving love to the organization will get you brownie points from the media and from your team. And finally, you should be genuine in your answers, but always remember to paint yourself and your team in the best light possible. Social media is a very important part of the 21st century. It can be a great use for student athletes, or it can be a pitfall. You should always have the mentality and the mindset that social media is a tool, not a use for entertainment. Social media should be used to further your image and brand forever and always. Student athletes should be smart on social media and not post anything you wouldn't want to spread everywhere. Never post something like Larry Nance's tweet because life is funny. He went on to get drafted by LA and played with the Lakers, and his tweet garnered negative attention. It's not just about posting, though. Anything you like or retweet is an endorsement, so be careful there as well. And like the Nance tweet, it's a good idea to go through and delete embarrassing pictures or posts that could cause problems down the road. As stated in that last slide, social media is a tool. You should only use it to manage your brand and image. Having a good image or a personal brand is the most important part of marketing yourself. If you're seen as a good and likable person, especially in the NIL era, you're more marketable. One good way to build a brand is to find a niche. Yes, you're an athlete, and that opens the door to attention. You can keep that attention by finding a niche or something you love to do or are good at, whether it's sports related or not. Never go too long without posting on social media, as that can cause your following to die down. You should also offer original content and stay true to your niche and brand, and that'll continue to build your following. It's important to note that your appearance, life story, and sportsmanship on the field or court can affect your image as well. Always remember online that you're representing not only yourself, but your university and community, and also student athletes have to meet multiple image demands, so be mindful to what you post. And finally, we have image repair. Football fans will remember the Laramie Tunsil draft night incident in which this video surfaced online and cost him millions of dollars. While it may not be that serious for all student athletes, your image can still be damaged, so repairing it is key. Always remember that everyone makes mistakes. Mistakes that lead to an attack on someone's image are called image threats. They can result from personal transgressions like Maurice Clarett being dismissed from Ohio State's team for off-the-field antics, illegal transgressions like Tunsil's video, or immoral transgressions like Todd Gurley selling autographs while still in college. The way to repair your image after these threats is to do what each of these guys did. Own up to your own shortcomings if you make a mistake. You apologize and vow to be better. Negative feedback will come, but if you focus on bettering yourself, in time the situation will improve. And best of all, in time people will forget and will move on. But you can always expedite that by doing something good like helping your community as well. Group 5 had the chance to speak with UWG soccer star Sarah Harrell recently, and we shared our presentation with her. Here's part of that.
And now we're going to talk about our student athlete that we have with us today, Sarah. UWG soccer. She broke her femur after 3 games of her college career, which ended her season. And it happened in September, and she ended up having surgery in January. So it was just 4 months of not being able to get a surgery date. And just 4 months, you have a severe injury and you can't get it fixed and start the rehab process. You can just imagine what type of toll that took on her mental and emotional health. She had the surgery and had to go through an 8 to 12 month recovery time. And she had plenty of restless nights, staying up all night, asking why me, why did this happen to me, and stuff like that. And Sarah, if you want to, you can talk a little bit about what exactly you went through, if this slide don't do it justice.
Yeah, I mean, it sucks just like on mine because you go from playing soccer your whole life to not playing at all. And then especially because like there was an ACL injury 2 months after me. And because like they were so worried just about me getting back on the field, they didn't actually take the time to be like, all right, let's actually figure out what's wrong, not just, oh, it will heal, and then push me back and then finally go deeper into it, realize I need surgery.
When we finished the presentation with Sarah, we asked her for feedback, which is something we would do with each student athlete we would work with at UWG. Sarah said she really enjoyed the presentation and felt that it was educational and helpful. The information we shared made her look at mental health and media training differently, which was one of our goals back in the beginning. She also said she definitely remember elements of the presentation, which was another one of our goals. With this positive feedback, we also had the suggestion that we do this in groups, such as with an entire team or program. Initially, we set out to do it one-on-one, but now we believe that we would talk to the student athletes beforehand and see if they'd want to do it solo or as a group. In conclusion, we feel that we should be hired to implement this outreach and initiative to student athletes at West Georgia. These student athletes should learn about mental and emotional health and media training now, so it can help them right away during their college careers. But this shouldn't just stop at the presentation. As mentioned in the first part of the presentation, we suggest that UWG develop university-based psychological teams, hold mental health seminars for coaches and administrators, offer mental health days for student athletes, and ensure that on-campus mental health clinics have open-door policies. Doing this would be the best of both worlds and offer optimal support for UWG student athletes. Here are the references for this presentation. Thank you for taking the time to watch through this presentation, and we appreciate your consideration.